There is a common belief that intelligence is something you are born with. Either you have it, or you don't. But science tells a very different story. Intelligence is not just a fixed trait locked inside your DNA. It is something that grows, something that is shaped by the way you think, the way you live, the habits you build every single day. When you study highly intelligent people closely, you start to notice patterns, not just in how they think, but in how they behave, how they talk, how they listen, how they spend their time. These are not random behaviors, they are habits, consistent, deliberate habits. And today, we are going to go through 13 of them. Pay attention, because you might already have some of these without even knowing it. Walk into any room and watch who talks first. Usually, it's the person who wants to be noticed, the one who needs to fill the silence. But intelligent people do something different. They walk in and they watch. They observe the energy in the room. They notice who is confident, who is nervous, who is performing. They listen to what people say, and more importantly, what they don't say. By the time they open their mouth, they already understand the room. This is not shyness. This is strategy. Silence for intelligent people is not emptiness. It is a tool, a way of collecting information. While others are talking, they are learning, and that gives them a significant advantage in almost every situation. Most people will do almost anything to avoid being wrong. They argue, they deflect, they change the subject, because being wrong feels like a threat to who they are. But highly intelligent people see it completely differently. For them, being wrong is not a failure. It is feedback. It is a signal that their understanding was incomplete, and incomplete understanding can be fixed. They say things like, "I was wrong about that," without hesitation, without shame, without defensiveness, because their identity is not attached to being right. Their identity is attached to getting better, and you cannot get better if you are always pretending you were never wrong. This habit alone separates intelligent people from everyone else. The willingness to be corrected is the willingness to grow. Here is something most people get backwards. They think intelligence is about having answers, but real intelligence is about asking the right questions. Think about the greatest discoveries in human history. They did not start with answers, they started with questions. Why does this happen? What if we tried this? What are we missing? Intelligent people are obsessed with questions. They question assumptions that everyone else accepts without thinking. They ask why something is done a certain way when no one else even wonders about it. And they ask questions about themselves too. Why did I react like that? What do I actually believe here? Am I being honest with myself? This kind of questioning is uncomfortable. It requires you to challenge your own thinking. But it is exactly this habit that keeps intelligent people growing. While everyone else stays stuck in the same patterns year after year, in a world that never stops talking, solitude is rare. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They reach for their phone the moment they are alone. They need noise, distraction, stimulation. But highly intelligent people actively seek solitude, not because they dislike people, many of them are deeply social, but because they understand something important. The mind needs space to process. When you are constantly consuming social media, conversations, content, your brain never gets the chance to connect the dots, to reflect, to understand what you actually think and feel. Solitude is where intelligent people do their best thinking. It is where they untangle complex problems, where they understand themselves better, where they reset after being drained by the world. If you find yourself genuinely enjoying time alone, not out of loneliness but out of preference, that is a sign of a sharp mind. Yes, intelligent people tend to read a lot. Books, articles, research, they consume information constantly. But their real reading skill goes far beyond words on a page. They read people. They notice the small things, the slight tension in someone's voice, the way a person's posture changes when a certain topic comes up, the difference between what someone says and what they actually mean. They read situations. They walk into a conversation and immediately sense the underlying dynamics. Who has power? Who is uncomfortable? What is really being said beneath the surface? They read patterns. They look at events and ask, why does this keep happening? What is the deeper pattern here? This kind of reading cannot be taught in a classroom. It comes from paying attention, consistently, deeply, over time. And intelligent people never stop paying attention. Something happens. Someone says something offensive. A plan falls apart. An unexpected problem appears. The average response is immediate, emotional, reactive. But highly intelligent people pause, not because they don't feel the emotion, they feel it just as strongly, but because they have learned something most people haven't. The space between what happens and how you respond is everything. In that space lives your freedom, your power, your intelligence. Reacting without thinking is easy. Anyone can do it, but choosing your response, that requires discipline. Intelligent people know that an emotional reaction made in the heat of the moment can undo years of trust, years of work, years of reputation. So they breathe, they think, they choose, and over time, this habit of controlling reactions becomes one of the most powerful things about them. Ask an intelligent person about their interests and be prepared to wait, because the list does not end quickly. They are curious about history, about science, about human behavior, about how economies work, why certain civilizations collapsed. What makes one person resilient and another person defeated by the same circumstances? Their curiosity is not selective, it is wide. It reaches into areas that have nothing to do with their job or their daily life, simply because something is interesting, simply because understanding the world feels important to them. This curiosity is not something they force. It is natural, it is relentless, and it is one of the main reasons their minds keep growing long, after most people have stopped learning anything truly new. Curiosity is the engine of intelligence, and intelligent people never let that engine stop. Most people need certainty to feel safe. They want to know how things will turn out before they commit. They want guarantees, predictability, clear answers. But highly intelligent people have made peace with not knowing. They can sit with an open question for months, even years, without forcing an answer. They understand that the world is complex, that most important questions do not have simple answers. That rushing to certainty often means settling for a shallow understanding. This comfort with uncertainty is what allows them to think deeply, because deep thinking requires you to hold multiple possibilities at once. To say, I don't know yet, and that is okay. The need for certainty closes the mind. The acceptance of uncertainty opens it. And open minds, as history has shown again and again, change the world. When something goes wrong, most people look for someone to blame. Intelligent people look for the system that allowed it to happen. They zoom out. They ask, what are the conditions that created this outcome? What patterns are repeating here? If I change this one thing, what else changes with it? This is called systems thinking, and it is one of the most powerful mental habits you can develop. It means you stop seeing events as isolated incidents and start seeing them as part of a larger pattern. It means you stop treating symptoms and start addressing root causes. Intelligent people apply this kind of thinking everywhere, in their work, in their relationships, in how they understand society. They are always asking, what is really going on beneath the surface here? And that question almost always leads to a deeper, more useful truth. Intelligent people say no a lot, more than most people are comfortable with. They decline invitations. They set boundaries. They protect their time fiercely. And from the outside, this can look cold, even arrogant. But it is neither of those things. It is awareness. Highly intelligent people understand that attention is finite. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else. Every hour spent on something that doesn't matter is an hour taken away from something that does. So they are selective, intentional, deliberate. They know what drains them and they minimize it. They know what fuels them and they protect it. This is not selfishness. It is how they stay sharp, because a scattered mind, pulled in every direction, cannot think deeply. And deep thinking is what intelligent people value above almost everything else. Here is a habit that surprises people. Despite being highly intelligent, these people are genuinely humble learners. They do not need someone to have a degree or a title to learn from them. They can learn patience from watching a child. They can learn resilience from someone who has lost everything and rebuilt. They can learn perspective from a stranger on a train, because they approach every person with a simple question. What does this person know that I don't? What have they experienced that I haven't? What can I understand better by listening to them? This kind of openness requires letting go of ego. It requires admitting that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn. And highly intelligent people genuinely believe that, not as a performance of humility, but as a deep, honest truth. We live in a world designed for short-term thinking, instant results, quick rewards, immediate satisfaction, and most people have been shaped by this environment without realizing it. They make decisions based on how something feels right now, not where it leads in 5 years. Highly intelligent people think differently. Before they commit to something, they ask, where does this path go? What am I building with these choices? What will this cost me later, even if it feels good now? They delay gratification not because they enjoy waiting, but because they understand the mathematics of time. Small, consistent actions compounded over years create massive results. Bad habits tolerated in the short term create massive damage in the long term. Intelligent people see this clearly, and they make their decisions accordingly, always keeping one eye on the future, even when the present is loud. This is the most important habit on this list, and it is the one most people overlook. Highly intelligent people are deeply, honestly aware of their own limitations. They know where their knowledge ends. They know which topics they only partially understand. They know when they are out of their depth, and they say so. This is called intellectual humility. And research consistently shows that it is one of the strongest predictors of real intelligence. The people who are most confident that they know everything are usually the ones who understand the least, because true understanding reveals how much complexity exists, how many layers there are, how many things remain uncertain. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And intelligent people embrace this. They wear their uncertainty not as a weakness, but as a sign of honest thinking. 13 habits. None of them require a high IQ. None of them require a prestigious education. They require something harder than that. They require self-awareness, discipline, a genuine love of truth, the willingness to be wrong, to sit with uncertainty, to keep asking questions long after everyone else has stopped. Look back at this list. Which of these habits do you already have? And which one, just one, will you start building today? Because intelligence is not a destination. It is a direction. And every one of these habits is a step in that direction.